Hello everyone and welcome back to the second video. So previous video we set up the database connection, we set up the main code, and we set up a FXML area which we don't have any code in yet, which we just have a blank area. So what we're going to do first, I think, is we're actually going to program some of this stuff. So we have to do a detail page on specific details of our product, which I think we're going to do that first. So let's go up here, right click and choose, let's see what I need here. We could just do a class here. So what we're going to do is raise some constructors, some getters and setters. All right, so I'm going to call this our user details. Let's see. You don't have to choose that and hit finish. All right, so now what we need to do is start off and import some libraries here. All right, so let me start here. Import JavaFX .beans.property, and it's going to be .simple string property. So this is a property for wrapping values. Okay, wrapping is when you take, let's say that you had blah 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 right here. Oops. And you needed to wrap down here. It would put that information there. So that would be an example of wrapping information. All right. So now we're going to import JavaFX .beans.property and then .string property. Okay, great. Now we're going to start our program. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to set up some variables. And these are going to be the variables of what I'll talk about in a second here. So these, actually, let me just talk about it. So when we do our screen that we develop, our GUI is going to have three columns. We're going to have a name, an email, and a department. Now you could program them to be something else. So I'm going to do private final string property and then name. And then what I'm going to do here is I am going to probably copy and paste this so I don't have to do it at the same time. So let's do a copy here and do a paste and paste. So we're going to change that to email and department. Perfect. Now these are red for now because I haven't really used them yet. Okay. So I'm gonna have a default constructor. So I'm gonna do public user details because that's the name of my class. I'm gonna let it accept a name, an email, and a department. So this goes back to using instant variables in your constructor. All right, so now I'm going to say this dot name equals new simple string property, and then we're going to pass the name. Oops, once I do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this a couple times and replace some values here. So we're going to do Control V, Control V. We're going to change the name to email, and we're going to change this to department, and we're going to change these values here as well and put email and department. So all we're doing at this point is we set up these values right here to be used, these variable types, and then we're setting up this public user detail, our constructor. We're going to pass in information such as name, email, and then we're going to make sure that the values that are passed in are going to be set at this high level so it could be used anywhere in your program. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set getters, and we're going to say public string get name. If you're taking my CIT 111 class, I think we talked about constructors. Yeah, we talked about constructors. So return name.get. Now, why am I using name? Because that's the value I have up here. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing multiple times now. So I'm going to copy this and change some values around. Okay. So I'm going to go down here, Control V, down here, and then what I'm going to do is instead of get name, I'm going to call it get email, and then I'm going to change this with email, and then I'm going to say get department. Oops. And I'm going to change this with department. See? These are getters right here. Alright, so now what we need is setters. Setters and getters. Setters, you set the information. Getters, you get the information. Alright, so our setters will be, and a lot of this, how this will work is in order to get our values, we get it and set it and so forth. So we'll do public void set name string value, and then I'll put name dot set, and then whatever that value is comes up here. Perfect. And I'm actually just going to type this out. I'm going to say public void set email string value, same concept. I'll go quick on this. Email dot set value. Okay. Public void set department string value that, and then we'll put what we're gonna put here. Department. Forgot for a second. Great. All right. So now we have our setters there. Now we need property values. Okay. So let's go down here and say property values, which we forgot to put setters up here. Well, we didn't. I did. So I'll say setters. And property values. So we'll say public string property name property, and then we'll say return name. Okay. Public string property, we'll call this email property. Now you guys could copy and paste this to make this easier, but I'm just writing it out, and say return email. Okay. And then do public string property, and this is why we use those imports up there for that one. So this would be department property. Oops. And then we'll do a return department. And that concludes that part of the code. So we imported these two libraries right here, the simple string that we used in this area, and then the string property, which we use down here. So these are guys that will get called. These are ways to set up. So I guess I should talk about what a string property is. It's used in wrapping. So the value of a string property can get and set an observable object. So it gets it and sets a value. It could be bound or unbound undirectionally with a certain property. The thing is, this is a basically wrapping a value. The other thing that we're talking about is a simple. So we talked about string property, and then we have a simple string property in Java, and you see how we're using it up here. There I go using the word too much times. It basically describes how a string object is created and used. So I guess the approach is creating this new operator in a sense. So we're taking this property here. Actually, if you click on it and go into open declaration, it just says that its initial value. So it shows you right here the initial value of the wrap value. So it's dealing with wraps as a class itself there. And then kind of gives you a little example of what it's doing. And it's using JavaFX. All right. So if you have any specific questions on that, Google it or just contact me. I'll be more than happy to help you out the best I can. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to close out. It'll probably ask me if I want to save it. Yes, I don't want to hit no because then it loses everything. So we have our database. I'm trying to program everything before we get to our user screen so that we have everything that we need for now. Do we have our main? We do have our main. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so the last thing that we need to do is program our controller. So we have our user controller, and that is gonna basically do the work for us in an essence. So let me program another one. So I'm actually going to do new class, and I am going to call this FXML user controller because that's the name of this guy right here. I'm gonna hit just finish. All right, so now what I need to do is import a ton of libraries. All right, so I'm gonna do import java.net.url. Oops, what is going on? I think I want to install something. Nope. Okay. Import java.sql.connection. Import java.sql.drive-manager. I'm going to kind of go quick here. I put driver manager. That's right. So I want to do import java.sql.resultSet. Now I can't remember. There's some of these that we won't use. Like right now they're yellow, but once we have the code written, there'll be some that we don't use. I don't remember which ones they are offhand, but we'll remove those. So we'll import java.sql exception. All right, so we have result set exception. We need to import java.utility.resource bundle. We need to import java.util.logging.level. Then we need to import .logging.logger. I need to import Java. I'm gonna copy and paste some of this stuff. Let's do this right here. I'm gonna copy and paste this guy here. I'll have to type this out again. All right, so we need to do fx.collections.fx_collections. Okay. Then we need to do .collections.observe. Then, oops, didn't like that. Then we need to do event.actionEvent. Need to import JavaFX.fxml. That's what I said. This part is tricky. Import JavaFX.fxml.initializable. Hold on. INIT. Tricky one for me to spell. All right, so now we need scene.control.button. Now we have several controls that we need to do here. These are objects on the screen, so I'm just gonna, we need button label. So let's copy and paste some of these guys here. Button label, we need a table column, we need a table view, and we need something else here. So let's change these values. Surprised it even allow me to do that. So label, we need table column, we need table view, and then we need cell.property value factory. And then last but not least, I think we need, thought I put this up here. Let me go up and put it right here because this makes sense. It's import java.sql which is everything, but let's just leave it there for now, but I don't think I need that. All right, so now we have that. I'm gonna hit save so I don't forget. All right, so now what I need to do is, let me think. All right, so let's start with this and then we'll work our way down. All right, so first thing that we need to do is set up those fxml. So I'm gonna do fxml, these annotations. I'm gonna do private label, and then I'm gonna do fxml. Has to be uppercase, just an FYI. I'll do private table view user details, because it's gonna be the user details, and I'm gonna put table user. Okay. Let's see. Now we need. Now I can put these underneath each other. fxml. I'm gonna put private table column. So now what we did, the highest level is the view. So that's the view around it, that surrounds it. So think of this right here as the view. Now we're going to build the columns. So we're going to say user details, and then we're going to do string. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put the column name. Okay. Column being the column, and then whatever that value is, name. I think I spelled column number. Let's see, what did I spell wrong? How about I spell it wrong? Yeah, I spelled table wrong. T-A-B-L-E column. There we go. Perfect. Now these guys we're going to copy and paste a couple times. So I'm going to do this and this. And then what I'm going to do here is change these values around. Instead of name, we're going to have email. And instead of name down here again, we're going to have department. All right, cool. So they're all string values. Now, if it was an integer value, we'd have it int here. User details is this page right here. So this is our user details page. This is where we get our values from. So this relies on that page there. All right, so we have this information. Now what we need to do is I need to do button. So I'm going to do fxml. I'm going to do private, geez, got to spell private right, button. I'll call it button load. All right, so now I need to initialize observable list to hold out database data. Perfect. I'm going to do private observable. I think we did this before earlier in the semester. Details. And I call it data. I'm going to do private DB connection. So we're going to specify the name of our data connection. I'll call it DC. We're going to recognize it. The reason I called it DB connection is because it's called DB connection. So let's say I call it connections. It wouldn't like it because it can't find it. It'll say create a class called that. So that's why we call it that. All right, so the next thing that we need to do is we need to build an initializer. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put an override in. So we want to override what we have. We want to put public void initialize, and then we're going to put URL and expect a URL to be sent to us, and then a resource bundle RB, and we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, so we need to put name of our connection equals new database connection. So what we do is when we initialize this, we want to say, hey, we need to create a new connection. Okay, so for some reason we got a problem there, and it might be, I might be missing something. Oh, I think I know why. So we're getting this message right here, and I think it's because I don't have an implements up here. So I need to do implements initializable. Hold on. Let me spell it right. Initializeable. Okay, I thought that was going to do it, but I think I made it worse. Huh. All right. It'd be nice if I spelled implements right. Nice. I spelled really bad. All right, so once you spell it right, you'll have implements initializer, which is this guy. So what happens is when it comes in here, it says, hey, you need to declare, you need to know what these guys are doing. You're like, okay, I know what these guys are doing. And then it says, and these are part of the main area. It says, I need to do this right here. What it does is it, it passes the URL that is passing, which is the database information. So that's like if we go back over here, it would be like all this information here that we have. Now you guys will have your own specific information. All right, so moving on. Just thinking about all the coding that we have left to do. All right, going to go down here, and I'm gonna put another annotation called fxml. I'm gonna say private void. I'm call load data from database. Action event, and then we need an event. Okay. All right, let me see what we need to do here. All right, so we need to have a TryCatch in here. Always try to do a TryCatch and stuff like this because you want to make sure that if it doesn't work, you want to be able to pick it up. So I'll do catch, and I'll do that SQL exception up here because it's in here. You want to do the SQL exception because now what you're doing is you're communicating with SQL, and if it doesn't work, you're going to get some weird message, and you need to know what you're doing. So I'm going to do print line. I'll put error plus ex. All right. And I must have spelled SQL exception wrong. SQLEXCEPTION. All right. What am I missing here? Copy it. Can't go wrong. All right, so I do have it spelled right. I don't know why it's not liking what I'm saying there. Okay, hold on. Try. Oh, I know why. Maybe not. Let me think about it. All right, so now what we need to do is I have a try in here, but you notice something here? I don't have the ending. Okay, at least I thought that's what it was. I guess I'm wrong. So we have, hold on, we have that. We have the catch. We have SQL exception right there. And we got that. So what the H am I missing? And then I have that. All right, let's see. All right, so I'm probably just going to code it and just go from there, but let me fix my try because I don't like having it that way. I like having it this way. Guess I'm anal about it. Then I'm a try, and then I have my, see, maybe that's not, oh, hold on. I have that there. Oh, I think I know what it is. Hold on. Oh, I know what this, oops, it's like that. Okay. Then there's that right there. Then we have our catch. I'm gonna put it right down here. Catches it. Throws off the system error. But in my catch I have that. And I got this here. So the only thing that's funky right now is this exception. It says unreachable catch block for SQL exception. This exception is never thrown from the try statement. Why is it never thrown? let's see here. Pasting it would be right. Well, you know what? Let me try. It's probably because I don't have anything going on in here yet. So that's probably why it's not doing it. It doesn't know what it's trying. So let me write my code and see what happens. So I'll do connection, con equals dc.connect. And then I will do data equals fx collections observable array list, and we'll end it there. We will do results set rs equals our connection dot, we're creating a statement like we did in class, dot execute query. We're going to write our SQL here. So my SQL is going to be select all from user info, and that's in my database. So what you're going to do is you're going to, whatever value you want to return here, you want to return the value that you have in your, let me minimize this stuff here. Whatever query that you're querying against your database, this is what would go here. So this is your SQL statement you're going to have here. All right. All right, so now I need a loop. I'm going to say while rs result set dot next. Then I'm going to do one of these guys here. All right, my SQL exception got fixed now. You see that because it didn't have anything in here, so I didn't know what I was talking about. So I'm going to say data dot add new user details. It even tells me what I want to add. Details. I'm going to do result set dot get string. What I'm doing here now is I'm putting the name of my column. So we're going to have 3 columns. We're going to have one for name, one for email, and one for department. Now here is the trick, and I'll show you something once I type this in, and it'll make more sense, and I'll show you what I mean. So now we'll do the other column, get string 2, and then we will do rs dot get string 3. Oops, I think we're missing okay, yes. So let me save this. Let me pull up Excel and I'll show you what I mean. I'll use Excel as an example. 1 second. So let's do a new sheet. All right. So let's pretend. Okay, so we know that we have name. So let's say we have name, we have email, and we have department. Okay. So let's say name is Jackie. Let's just put Howard Stern. Email is howardstern@ccac.edu, and department is we will put broadcasting. Okay, so we have this department here. So in order to put that value in there, let me create another row real quick. Column. All right, so this right here would be 1, 2, and 3. Normally in database or software development, everything is 0, 1, 2, 3, but it's only when you work in arrays. In this case, when you're working with a table, this is row 1, 2, and 3. So as you see here, that's what we're doing here. We're doing 1, 2, and 3. But here's the trick. Let's say that you have another column in here, and this column right here is the ID. Let's say row ID. Oops, put it here. The row ID, and it's 1. And let's say that you had another column in between here, and this was called location. Okay, and then maybe it was his location's New York. Okay, so what happens here? This becomes 1, this becomes 3, this becomes 4. Oops, not 44. 4 and 5. Okay, so now if you want to only pull the email, the name, and the department, your values will now be 2, comma, then you would have email would be 3, and department would be 5. So what you would do is down here, when you're doing your string, you would put 2, you would put 3, and you would put 5. So you remember you want to put the column number of that what you want to pull up here. Okay, so hopefully that makes more sense of why I put 1, 2, 3. In my example, that's all I have. In my query, I have select all. Now another way that you could do it differently, I'm pulling straight from the column, is if I, even if I specified what, if I specified what values I wanted to do from there. So let's say that I wanted to pull from the table and I call it name, department, and then email, or maybe name, email, department. Then I can make that 1, 2, 3, even if I have it in different columns. So the only time that you want to specify the exact column is when you're selecting everything from the database. So if you have questions on that, please let me know. So we'll move on. We have our catch here. I'm going to move this guy up here a little bit. Perfect. All right, so we have our error message there. Now we need to, in this case, we need, let's see, what else do we need to do? Make sure I didn't forget anything. All right, so now we need to set the cell value factory to table view. All right, so let's do this. Hit return. We'll put set cell value factory to table view. Also the property, and property value factory must be the same with the one set in the model class. All right, so what we'll do here is we'll do column name dot. All right, what are we doing here? Am I spelling right again? Or do I have something wrong? I think I'm, you know what? I moved too far down. So I want to be here. Column name dot. It's amazing when you go too far. We'll do set cell value factory. And then in here, we are going to do new property. Oh, geez. Not mu. New property value factory. We'll do this, and we're going to do name. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to make this crap easy because I'm not going to type this out every time. That's a lot of typing. So I'm going to copy this guy here. We're going to paste him 2 times. Why? Because we have many columns, that many rows. Columns, I mean. So we have column name, blah, 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 set cell factory. All that is the same. The only thing that's different is the column what? Email. Column what? Department. And then same thing over here. We make this email and we make this department. Just like that. All right, so now we do table user dot set items, and then we do null, and then we do table user dot set items, and now we do data. Now we're saying let's show me the data. All right, be nice. Cool. All right. Whew, that was a lot of work. So let me save that. So this is our controller that we built. You see we didn't need these guys here, and we'll end up throwing those guys out right now. So I'll wipe these guys out because they're not being used. Perfect. All right, so we have our space. We have our annotations there. We have our initialize. I spelled observable wrong. Doesn't matter. Actually, it'll change it for me. That's awesome. All right, list to hold the data. We have our initializable area right here. And now this guy right here is our load database. So when we build our screen out and we click on the button, what's going to happen is it's going to call this control. It's going to come down and says, hey, let me connect to this database connection up here. And then the data is going to equal the array list. Okay, so it's going to create an array list. And it's going to say, hey, the result set is, queries this information. And it says, hey, while the result set dot next. So it'll loop through and get all those values. So if this is only one multiple rows. So I think I have 2 rows in my table. So depending on how many rows that you have, it'll keep rolling through. And then we have our catch here in case it needs a catch and error message and print it. In a perfect world, we would have a logging file here and log it somewhere. And then we could look at the log later. Down here, we're going to have the column name set value. So this right here is going to take the value that we receive here and post it in the JavaFX scene builder. So without this, you wouldn't see it on the screen. Okay. So I'm going to close out of this. Yes, I definitely want to save this. So right now we have the database connection, the user control, the main area. Make sure if I don't have anything there, that looks good. My user details. So we have 5 classes is what we want. All right, so now we're going to program the screen. So I'm going to right click on it, open with Scenebuilder. All right, opening Scenebuilder, try absolute path. So, all right, I must not have it set. Let me go to my preferences. Don't know if I unset it or what I did. I'm using a Mac, so it's going to be a little bit different. Scenebuilder, open Sesame. All right, so let's try it again. Oh, it opened on the wrong page. It always does that. Okay, getting back here, we have, oops, where'd my guy go? Right there. All right. So we have, let me think here. All right, what do we need? We need an anchor pane, which we already have. So we need to set up our properties. Let me move this in here so you can see it. Go to layout. I need to set the height and width. So I'm going to do width at, let's see what I'm looking at here. 448. We'll change if we need to. And 400. Okay. Let's see. Rotation axis on this one is already set, so I don't have to change anything there. So I think the layout is pretty good for what we're looking to do. Layout, all right, click on it, properties. All right, I don't need to set that right now. All right, so that looks good. All right, so now I have a label that I want to use. So what I'm going to do is come up here, type in label. Actually, let me think about this. I don't know if I want to add it yet or not. Well, for now, let me add it into the anchor pane. Okay, and I'll move it around later. Now I need a table view. So I'm going to type in table view right here. That's the highest level. So that's like your, if you do a new Excel sheet, your new sheet, this is your new sheet. Okay. So I want to right click on it and fit the parent, I think. And what we need to do is add another column. 1 second. All right, so what we need to do is we have to use table names. We need to create another column. So if you right click on it, I'll just hit duplicate. It creates a third column. So C1, remember you click on it and you go over to properties. We need to change the name to name. All right. And then we come over to C2, we'll change it to email address. Perfect. Let's match this guy out. Whoops. And this last guy right here, we need to change it to department. Perfect. And we have it out like that. Now we need to fit to parent. So let's adjust these guys around a little bit. Perfect. All right, well, we'll see how perfect it really is, because that's the thing, it has to be perfect. All right, so we have our table column, name, email address, department. So now we need another label for our user details, which actually I think I got this screwed up. Think about it now. I don't want to have this fit the parent. Okay, so what I need to do is hit Control Z and go back if I can. Alright, so what I did is I deleted that for a second. So I'm going to take that table view again and put it back down here. What we want to do is in this case, we want to make it a little bit smaller. We don't want to have this full size. So let's do what we just did and duplicate it. Alright, so we know that C is going to be name. We know that C2 is going to be email address. And we know this guy right here is going to be department. Perfect. Alright, so let me try to fix that again. Looks a little better. Alright, now we need to have another label. We need to have the label for user details and put it right here for now. We need to maybe change the size or something, I don't know. Make it, oops. Let's see what 18 looks like. Looks fine. Let's put that there. Change the name from label to user details. Oh, you son of a bee. There we go. All right, that's fine. If I can make it bold, that would be awesome too. Don't want to push my luck. All right, perfect. All right, I'm just save this so I don't forget about this. All right, so I have user details. I have a label. I'm going to put that label, that one label down there. It's actually, let me put it right here because it's going to be used to be a blank. So I'm going to try to throw it in a table view. That's not working. Why do I want that to be in there? So the next thing I'm going to do is I need to add a button. So let's create that button. And let's drop that guy down below here somewhere. I'll call it load details. I'll probably give it a different size or just leave it as is and maybe give it a bold if I can. Perfect. All right. Whoops. Okay, I didn't pick it up. All right, I'm not worried about it. All right. Save that. All right, let's see what's next. What's next? All right, so the next thing that we need to do is connect the controller. Okay, so let's see if it even picked it up. All right, it does have the controller over here, so that's good. We need to probably add controller information over here. So click on this and click on code. We need to have the FX ID up here, which is button load. Okay, we need to have the on action, which is going to call the load from the database. All right. What else am I missing? feel like I'm missing something. All right, so let me click on table user. We need to set this guy right here to table user. It adds that, so we make sure these objects are being added. All right, so what else? We have the label. Don't have to set that. Column name, yes, we're gonna have to do that. So I'm gonna click on column name. I have to set that. Go over here to email address, and then department. Almost done. What else do I need? Label, so I need to set the label, I bet. There we go. All right, hit save. You don't see the save being saved. I think that's it. Let's see how it works. All right, let's see if this works now. So I'm going to refresh this guy here. And I'm going to right click on it, run as application. It's going to ask me which one. It's the main one. That's our main one. Okay. Screen is somewhere else. All right, so this label I could probably remove. I don't know why I have it in here. All right, so if I click on load details, it should load my data. Boom, it worked. So it connected to my database. It loaded everything the way we wanted it. Another thing is cool about this is it automatically sorts it for you. So we didn't build any sort of functionality in it. It already has that information in there for us, which is perfect. Oops, I don't know what happened there. You could also take your option and move it over here. I think it's, yeah, so you can move stuff around if you want to. You can move name over here if you want it over here. So you could rearrange it any way that you want to. I think you can change that as well. So you have some options there. The label thing we could probably remove, but this is all I'm looking for you guys to do this week with your data. So the object of this week was to learn what a database is, how to work with it. We talked about how to create a database. You've created your database. You've created a table. You added some values to the table. You were able to now connect to the table and pull your information. So it's that simple. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. In addition, this is your assignment for a week. It's worth 100 points. And if you follow the instructions, you'll be fine. If not, just shoot me an email. Thanks for listening to this video.